Thanks very much. And for a change, I'm not going to talk about Denmark. There's been a lot of that so far. Just some brief remarks on what we have been saying. One thing I think is abundantly clear to all of us: the old order is no longer. We used to talk about a global, liberal, global order, as you remember. It was never 100% liberal. It was not entirely global either, and it wasn't always 100% order, but for some lucky decades, it was close enough. Now, wherever we look, liberal values are under assault, democracy is seen as in retreat, and the global cooperation and economy is fracturing. What's left of the celebrated liberal global order is obviously declining and decaying by the day. We have entered a new era of disorder without any end in sight. But it's, in a sense, even worse than that. Because we're in a world where both at the same time, geopolitical tensions are rising and global challenges are rising as well. And the dilemma of our world today is then that we see with the global challenges, the need for cooperation is rising, but the possibility of actually doing it is declining. There are numerous global challenges that require far greater degree of cooperation than we've had so far. Climate change hasn't been touched upon very much during our days here, but it is a reality. I see Arctic unfreezing at a very fast pace, just to take one example. The threat of pandemics isn't gone. There is something lurking around the corner. And then we have the revolution of AI. There is a San Francisco consensus, if I might use that phrase, that we are rapidly approaching artificial superintelligence, surpassing what human beings have ever seen. But there is no global consensus on how the risks that are associated with this should be handled. Then, of course, the rapidly rising geopolitical tensions. We all know, and it's been said repeatedly here, that the fate of Ukraine will define the security of Europe for decades to come. If Europe were to fail, all bets are open. You can discuss whether Russia today has ambitions beyond Ukraine, but it's fairly obvious that the appetite grows with eating. Mr. Putin has been, that should be said, spectacularly unsuccessful so far. He started invading with his army of roughly 200,000 men, has since then expanded his army to roughly 3 times that size, has suffered casualties of roughly 1 million people, mostly men, and today controls a smaller share of Ukraine territory than 3 years ago, slightly less than 20%. It is not overly impressive. I don't think the Russian army will deliver the victory that Putin seeks, but he still hopes that the weakening of the will of the West at the end of the day will. The brutal reality that we must confront is that peace will not come to Europe until we are in the post-Putin period and Ukraine is secured inside also the EU. And now, of course, the wars in the Middle East have also reached new dimensions of dangers. As I said yesterday, the tragedy of Israel is that while it's undoubtedly very good at making war, it is so far manifestly unable to do peace. And that inability to make peace has driven it into yet more wars. And that is our neighborhood. The transatlantic relationship, has been pointed out in our discussions, will never be the same. The remaining energies of the rather tired American power will be directed to trying to contain China. It is an American power that is tired of carrying burdens for others. It's a power that has gone from creative when it comes to setting up a global order to disruptive of what is still left of it. And with the unpredictability of the US, the concept of de-risking, as was pointed out in one of our panels, will have to apply not only to our relationship with China, but also to the one with the United States. No amount of flattery will change that. It is thus a rather demanding situation for our Europe. Our peace is under threat, and the foundations of our prosperity, they are not as strong as we would like. We have to adjust to a world dominated by raw power and illiberal ideas. Our old friends fade away, and new fires keep erupting. But it's also a world where new friendships brings new opportunities. 87% of global goods trade has nothing to do with the United States. And 2/3 of the growth in the global economy is in Asia. And we, in contrast to the United States, we don't have a trade deficit. Our products are in demand across the world. But we must also recognize that much of our future will be shaped by what happens in cyberspace, in outer space, and in inner space. AI, synthetic biology, quantum computing, possibilities and dangers are mind-boggling. We must step up our game across the board. The situation, thus, is deeply challenging. But let's still remember that there is no other place in the world that delivers the quality of life to the broad majority of its citizens as our European societies do. After all, to be a superpower, not perhaps in production, not perhaps in innovation, but to be a superpower in the quality of life isn't a bad place to be when we confront all the other challenges of this age of global turmoil. With that, a slight optimistic note at the end. Thanks to all of you for coming. Safe travels, and see you soon again. Thanks.